Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's simple on the surface, but the document we're tackling. It might just be one of the most explosive texts written in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Edward Bernays' 1928 Manifesto Propaganda.
Right, and we're not treating this like some dusty old academic piece.
No way. This feels more like
Yeah.
the active instruction manual for the world's invisible government.
That's what's so chilling, isn't it? Even now, how openly Bernays just lays out the premise. He argues that the conscious, intelligent manipulation of, the habits and opinions of the masses, it isn't just a political trick.
He says it's essential.
An essential element in how democratic society actually functions.
Okay, that's a profoundly unsettling idea. So
Yeah.
basically, he's claiming that without this sort of unseen mechanism, this constant shaping of public thought, society just descends into chaos.
That's exactly his argument. Bernays suggests that if every single citizen had to actually analyze every bit of political, economic, or ethical data themselves, well, the mental load would just be too much.
Overwhelming.
Completely. So we kind of outsource that thinking. We let this unseen mechanism, the propagandists, the PR people, we let them narrow down our choices to what they decide is practical.
And the people who pull the strings, the ones who successfully manipulate this whole system.
Bernays flat out calls them the true ruling power.
Wow. So this isn't just theory, it's a playbook.
Wow.
A terrifyingly honest one for control. And to really get how powerful it still is, we need to look at some concrete examples, right? Real historical cases where these techniques actually worked.
Yeah, where they successfully engineered public consent, shaping everything from the clothes people wore to global politics.
All right, let's dig in.
Let's unpack this, starting with how you manufacture desire, how you make people want something. Bernays practically invented this through what he called the new propaganda.
Okay, example one. Let's talk 1920s fashion, the case of velvet.
Velvet, yeah. The velvet manufacturers were apparently facing ruin. Their fabric was just completely out of style.
And just running ads didn't work?
Nope. Direct advertising had failed miserably to bring it back. So Bernays had to figure out how to push velvet without it looking like a push.
Okay. Because the direct approach...
It hits a wall, right. Instant sales resistance. The old way, Bernays said, would be just shouting, "Buy velvet, it's cheap," or whatever.
Right.
But the new salesmanship, his method, was about targeting the source of authority. And for fashion back then, that source wasn't America.
It was Paris.
Exactly. Paris. The home of high fashion. That was the vital spot.
So the technique wasn't a big ad campaign in, the New York Times.
Yeah.
It was about creating a situation, a manufactured circumstance.
That's the core of it, yeah. They set up this velvet fashion service. Now, it was openly backed by the manufacturers, sure, but its real goal wasn't advertising.
What was it then?
It was to influence the key people, the trendsetters, the group leaders. They hired an intelligent Parisian contact to go visit the absolute top couturiers, the big names like Lanvin, Worth, Patou, and basically induce them, persuade them to use velvet in their new designs. Gowns, hats, the works.
Hold on. So he's saying these elite designers were kind of pawns in this big sales pitch they didn't even know they were part of.
Well, maybe not pawns, but essential conduits, the transmission points. Once the designers were using velvet,
Then what?
then the next step was making sure the right people were seen wearing it. They arranged for really distinguished figures, a specific countess, maybe a well-known duchess, to wear these velvet creations at very visible, very public events.
Creating the impression.
Creating the circumstance. Suddenly, velvet was the look in the most exclusive, most watched circles in Paris.
It's kind of horrifying, but you also have to, grudgingly admire the strategy. The fate of a whole U.S. industry hanging on whether some countess wore the right hat in Paris.
And then the American buyers and the fashion reporters show up in Paris. What do they see?
They see velvet everywhere among the elite.
Right. This apparently spontaneous trend. So they report it back home as news. This is the latest style from Paris.
And the American consumer buys velvet.
Not because some ad told them to, but because they think they're making a free, sophisticated choice. They're just following what they perceive as the latest, most prestigious trend, which was, of course, completely manufactured.
And that blueprint, that's basically modern influencer marketing, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the birth certificate. Using prestige, using association with a key person, a celebrity, whatever, to set a trend. The public feels like they're choosing freely, but they're just following manufactured authority.
Linking a product to someone or something people already trust or admire.
Exactly. And that idea, that borrowed authority, It leads straight into the second example, which is maybe even more insidious because it targets something really fundamental:
A low wave.
health.
Okay, so now we're talking about selling food. Basic stuff.
Yeah. The specific case was boosting bacon sales in a market that was already really crowded, really competitive.
Right. And again, he contrasts the old versus the new salesmanship here.
He does. The old way would be a direct pitch, like, eat more bacon. It's cheap. It's good.
Yeah.
A direct assault, he calls it.
But Bernays went deeper.
Much deeper, he asked. Who actually influences what people eat? In the American home, who's the sort of psychological leader when it comes to diet and health?
And the answer was?
The physician. The doctor.
So instead of trying to fight the public's natural skepticism about ads,
Why bother? Just channel your message through the most trusted authority figure you can find. Use their credibility to just remove the sales resistance entirely.
okay, how did he do that with bacon?
Well, Bernays advised the bacon company to approach physicians, not to advertise bacon directly, but to suggest that they publicly state that eating a hearty breakfast, which would include bacon, is wholesome. Good for you.
Wow.
Yeah. Suddenly, the sales resistance just evaporates. Not because the ad was clever, but because the consumer absorbed the information as coming from a scientific, trustworthy, health-focused source.
People follow their doctor's advice because, as Bernays put it, there's that psychological relation of dependence.
Exactly. So you buy the bacon, not because you saw an ad for that bacon, but because you genuinely believe you're making a doctor-approved health choice.
That transfer of trust
Yeah.
from the doctor's authority to the product itself. That's the really unsettling part.
It is, because it's not just selling bacon anymore. It's selling reassurance. It's selling this idea of health security, maybe even social conformity, doing the right thing for your health.
Commercial goals hidden behind the mask of authority.
Making the purchase feel responsible, not impulsive.
And you see this everywhere today, right? Especially in, like, the wellness industry. Supplements, health foods.
Oh, absolutely. It's weaponized. Every influencer needs that veneer of expertise, whether they're a registered dietitian or just calling themselves a wellness guru. They endorse a product.
And the purchase becomes about trusting that supposed expert consensus, not just wanting the thing itself.
Exactly. It's the engineering of consent applied directly to your shopping habits.
Okay, so we've seen manufacturing consumer desire through fashion prestige and using borrowed authority for food sales. The third example takes these techniques into high-stakes global politics.
Right. How to build a nation's prestige just by playing the media game correctly, manipulating the mechanics of how news spreads.
This sounds really interesting. What's the case?
This involves Thomas Mizerek. He was the provisional president of the newly forming Czechoslovakia right after World War I in 1918.
Okay.
And he needed to make sure that when they declared themselves a free and independent state, the whole world noticed. Maximum global recognition, maximum impact.
A massive moment for them. Huge political stakes. You'd want to get that right.
Absolutely. So Mizerek actually consulted with Bernays on the timing of the announcement. When should they make the declaration?
Timing matters that much.
According to Bernays and Mizerek, absolutely. Mizerek figured out something really crucial about how news actually worked back then, the logistics of it. The original date they picked for declaring the Republic's freedom was a Sunday, October 27th, 1918.
Okay, seems fine.
But Mizerek realized, wait a minute, announcing it on a Sunday, that means minimal international press coverage.
Why? Oh, because Sunday newspapers were smaller or people weren't paying attention?
Exactly. Sundays were quiet. The Monday morning editions that followed were often small, less prominent, fewer reporters working, less space, less attention. Not ideal for a huge international announcement.
Right, you want front page news.
Precisely. So they made a decision. The date was officially changed, pushed back by just one day.
To Monday, October 28th.
To Monday, October 28th, 1918. By delaying it just 24 hours, they ensured the announcement hit right at the peak of the news cycle. Maximum space, maximum attention. Guaranteed big, favorable front-page coverage all around the world.
Mizerek apparently said cables make history, meaning the actual mechanics of the news cycle dictated the historical impact.
That's the idea. The physical logistics determine the political success, in a way.
And the impact. Did it work?
Massively, according to Bernays. The new state got way more attention, more prestige. Its recognition was cemented globally, partly because of this calculated timing. It shows how political leaders aren't just reacting to public opinion, they can be conscious creators of circumstance. They shape the narrative by controlling how and when information gets out.
And the modern parallel is just glaringly obvious.
Absolutely. Every single political announcement today, every rally, every photo op, every policy reveal.
It's all meticulously timed, isn't it?
Okay.
Staged to hit the right news cycle, whether that's dominating cable news for a day, trending on social media, getting into the morning papers.
The timing is everything. The news outlets themselves, willingly or not, become the vehicle for the propaganda.
And most people just accept the timing is random. Oh, they announced it on Monday. They don't question why Monday, October 28th instead of Sunday the 27th.
Right. The manufactured circumstance feels natural.
Okay, so let's pull these threads together. We've got fashion prestige with Velvet, health authority with Bacon, political timing with Czechoslovakia, three very different fields.
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway from Bernays' playbook, looking at these examples?
I think the core message in Bernays' book, demonstrated by these cases, is that this invisible government, this system of manipulation, it works because it doesn't usually rely on brute force. It doesn't force ideas down your throat. Instead, it understands the group mind. It understands psychology, and it channels it.
By creating the perfect circumstance.
Exactly. Whether it's seeing a countess in a velvet hat, or hearing a doctor implicitly endorse Bacon, or reading about a new nation on a Monday morning, they create a situation that makes us want to follow, makes us feel like the decision is ours.
We like to think we're rational, right? Free agents making our own choices based on facts.
That's the comforting illusion. Bernays just rips it away. He basically says our judgment is mostly just a collection of impressions, habits, things stamped onto our minds by these outside influences we barely notice.
So we're constantly, in a way, consenting to being manipulated without realizing it.
Pretty much. And the defense against that, according to this kind of thinking, has to be, well, fierce skepticism, constant vigilance.
You have to actively look past the surface reasons presented to you. Oh, it's fashionable. Oh, it's healthy. Oh, it's patriotic news.
Right. And try to consciously dig for the real, calculated, often hidden motives behind what political groups, corporations, advertisers, what they're actually doing.
And think about this. Bernays was developing and using these techniques back in the 1920s.
Yeah.
His tools were basically newspapers, maybe some early radio, magazines. That's it. And look at the impact he could have, shifting fashion trends, changing eating habits, helping launch a nation's profile.
With pretty limited technology, relatively speaking.
Okay, now fast forward to today.
Yeah. Now, the mechanisms of propaganda are, well, they're instantaneous, they're global, they're incredibly personalized.
We carry devices in our pockets that track our behavior, our preferences, our psychological triggers.
And feed us custom-tailored information. Custom-designed circumstances delivered right to our screens, designed to nudge us towards the exact habits, the exact opinions the propagandists want to encourage.
So that's the really big question Bernays leaves us with, isn't it? The one we really need to think about. If the original goal of that invisible government was, as he claimed, to organize chaos, what level of unseen, hyper-efficient, algorithmically driven mechanism are we caught up in today?
When we're scrolling through a feed that's been perfectly curated to narrow our choices, to reinforce our existing biases, to subtly shape our consent, what's really happening?
Is it still about organizing chaos? Or has chaos just become much, much more efficiently organized against us, in a way?
When that feedback loop between manipulator and manipulated is instant, personalized, and constant, where does our own thought actually begin?
Something to definitely think about next time you find yourself scrolling.